Some people were saying England heading into that last group stage match, like they should tank the game to have a favorable result in the round of 16, like a better opponent to play. Do you
Yeah,
believe in
because
that?
the thing is this, right? England always do this every tournament. Well, I feel like ever since Gary Southgate has been here, like even at the World Cup, like they're going to the last game trying to like figure out which side of the bracket to be on.
Mm-hmm.
Remember in the World Cup, right? Last group stage game against Belgium, like the guy sent out like his bench or something
Mm-hmm.
because if you were on this side of the bracket, there was like mad competition
Yeah.
compared to the other side. That's why they, to be honest, that's why they got to the semi-final.
Mm-hmm.
On in this year's Euros, if you look at their bracket, right? If they beat Germany, they're gonna either face like Wales or Denmark or
Yeah,
Czech
they're good.
Republic
Yeah,
or
they're
like you know what
good.
I mean. Like
Yeah.
like on the other side, you're seeing Portugal versus Belgium. You're seeing like big matchups over there, and then on this side you're having like Denmark and those guys. Like
Mm-hmm.
whoever wins that game between Germany and England is going straight to the final, right?
Yeah,
Or
they
is
have
going
an easier
or they're
shot.
making it to the semi-final because Netherlands too. You can't write off Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
either one of those teams are going to the finals, either Netherlands or England or Germany. You know what I mean? And
So
it is
so
what it
I
is, bro.
so in terms of because what people were saying like in terms of them tanking is that at least for the next game they wouldn't have to play somebody like Germany, but now they're playing somebody like Germany. Do you feel like it's a necessary like you just take it on the chin? If you beat them, you're good after that type thing.
The thing is this, right? England has the talent to beat Germany, no questions asked, right? Even Germany has the talent to beat England. It's just about
Mm-hmm.
who turns up on the day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you remember the last game, like, bro, Hungary was beating these guys until like the 85th, 86th minute. You know what I mean? They were about to be out.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends who turns up on the day. Like, Germany has only turned up for one game this whole tournament, right? England has only
Yeah, of
turned up
course.
for one game this whole tournament,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it just depends which side you get, like which level
But
of performance you get, right?
But you see, what's interesting about me is that they've all turned up for one game in this tournament, but they turned up of one game in the tournament with different level of competition. Germany's competition is
Yeah,
not comparable to what England had to face in the
and
group
that's the
stages.
problem, and that's what the English fans are talking about. Like they can't beat Scotland. They expect, do they think they can beat Germany? You know that kind of vibe. That's why the fans wanted to tank that game. You know what I mean? So at least they'll
Mm-hmm.
have a first easy round of 16. But I feel like someone like Guy Southgate, he's thinking ahead. So rather than be on this side of the bracket, let's be on this side of the bracket, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we like he was gonna go all out to win that Germany game. So at least they can have like an easier route to the final or easy. And you have to remember, all England's game is gonna be in Wembley. So
Yeah.
they're basically the only home team in this tournament because
Mm-hmm.
all their games is gonna be in Wembley, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that game being in Wembley is gonna be at an advantage for them because they're gonna have more fans in the stadium. They're gonna have the backing and everything, the support, the fans as the extra man. So they're home too. You know what I mean? So they're gonna want to perform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
But what's interesting to me about this matchup is like it's a very good matchup for like one main reason is that Germany uses their wing backs like I mean their full backs like crazy. So you have Kimmich and you have Gosens that go up the wing, getting taking part in the attack, either crossing, finishing, and now you go on the other side. England is a defensive team, even though they have that many strikers. They play very defensive. So, do you think for Southgate, this is really gonna be the test to see if his defense works the way he wanted it to work?
do you know what I think might happen?
What?
He played Maguire for that last game, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna bring him in, solidify three at the back, right? For this Germany game. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like he wanted to give Maguire minutes so that when he gets to the round of 16 and stuff, he can bring him in and play that three at the back he wants to play,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if you notice, his fullbacks were not. they were not bombing forward like they normally
Mm-hmm.
do. Like Luke Shaw in the Premier League was bombing forward, with James bombing forward, but it wasn't like in the England games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe playing that three at the back with the wing backs and stuff will probably make them do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like give them extra attackers. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
he might try to do that to counter what Germany's gonna do, right? Because Germany fullbacks also like attack and give them extra numbers over there, right? So
Yeah, and they're clinical. That's to me, that's a big thing. Germany like has been like they're a clinical team. Like once they get around your box or whatever. And England was playing team in their group stages that if they're not teams aren't like they're not scoring teams. Like that's why you see
exactly,
first game what was it? First game was 1-0, second game 0-0, and then third game is 1-0, no?
yeah,
So you're playing like teams that can't really they're not scorers.
exactly, exactly. Like and like the defense wasn't really tested. Like Pickford, how many saves Pickford had to make the whole group
Mm-hmm.
stage? Like barely anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now this is where like the test really starts. Like this is where the Euros really start. Let's see who's who. Let's see, who's ready to like take over. Let's see who's ready to win it. Right.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you a question about the just squad selection. Do you think Gareth Southgate knows his best 11?
No, nah, it doesn't.
And you're heading
Like
into
he
the round of 16 not knowing your best 11.
like okay. Now think about this. Now, first two games he played, Sterling, Foden, Mason Mount. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this last game he played Grealish, Saka, Sterling, King. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the way the game was going. Those guys were attacking. They were performing. Like Grealish has to start. Like I keep saying this, he
Mm-hmm.
has to start,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like one thing I don't understand is why Jadon Sancho wasn't getting any minutes. He only got minutes last game. Like I don't know if it was 8 or 10 minutes. Like
Mm-hmm.
bro, this guy has like 15 goals, 20 assists.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you're willing to throw in Jude Bellingham, who plays on the same team as Jadon Sancho, right, into the game and he's 17. Like, because people were saying, oh, how, like, people were kind of making excuses, oh, maybe he doesn't watch Jaden Sancho play. But so how do you know how
that's
good?
not an excuse. Oh my god, that is
How
not
do you
an
know? How do you know
excuse.
how good Jude Bellingham is? Because they play on the same team,
Literally.
and Jaden Sancho has numbers and everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, people are trying to like give him excuses and say, oh, maybe, oh, Jaden Sancho maybe doesn't train well or something. Nah, man. If a
Mm-hmm.
guy can do the job, give an opportunity to do the job,
And I actually think
right?
that's the problem with having like too many great players. Some coaches don't know how to like do squad management, and they when you get so many options, I'm like, okay, this could work or that could work, and it's nice to have that flexibility. But then you're stuck in a situation like Gareth Southgate right now, where he's heading to round of 16, not knowing who's the best 11 that should be playing because they're all
Because
he's
think about it,
interchangeable.
when Saka and Grealish came in, they played so good that they're gonna make him think twice. You know what I mean,
Exactly.
right? So now, like, if you look at the first two games, right, he had Sterling and Foden on each side. Those guys played for City. England would try to play like City that first two
Hmm.
games, like try to pass the ball. Nah,
Yeah.
bro. Harry Kane was dropping deep like he's playing in Tottenham. Like,
Hmm.
what's Gary Southgate's identity as a coach? Like, what is
Exactly.
his style of play? Like nobody knows because
We
every
don't know.
player, every player on the pitch are playing like they're playing for their club.
Hmm.
For Tottenham, Harry Kane drops back to receive the ball all the time. That's what he's doing. That's why he's not. How can your striker, like a deadly striker like that, have only 6 touches in the opposition box? It makes no sense. You know what I mean? He's not gonna get his goals like that. You have to feed him the ball in the box all the time. If he keeps dropping in, and the people are saying, "Oh, he doesn't need to because there's more this much talent around him. This is not Tottenham." Blah blah blah. But if he's not getting the ball, he has to come get the ball.
Yeah.
If those talented players you're talking about around him are not giving him the ball in the right positions, he has to come back and get the ball,
Hmm.
right? So it's not like he wants to do it all the time, but he has no option,
Hmm. And the thing
right?
is, you have to also remember, like Harry Kane is their captain. A guy like that needs to have impact on a game.
Impact,
I'm sorry,
exactly.
you cannot have a captain just disappear like that. and he knows it himself. That's why he's dropping deep, obviously trying to get the ball, or whatever, trying to get something going, because the players look towards him as a example of what they
Like
should be doing
think
and
about
whatever.
think about it this way, right? With his role, he's the captain, like you said, and his role is to score goals. And him not
Exactly.
scoring, he hasn't scored any goals yet in the tournament.
Hmm.
So everyone is are asking for him to be dropped. What?
Just closing off this matchup, England versus Germany. What are your predictions?
To be honest, I'm gonna say 2-1 England.
England. Okay, okay, 2-1 England. Hmm. I'm not giving a scoreline, but I'm gonna say England because Germany, as deadly as they are with their fullbacks, they have so many like mental lapses, and their mental lapses are they're deadly.
Costly.
Like
They're
they're
costly.
costly. They literally we saw what happened against Hungary. Like they're so costly. So yeah, I don't know if they have it, because a guy like Harry Kane will love all those mental lapses that
Like
Batman's gonna do.
you see how the hungry striker was just eating those defenders. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly.